A young man and a young woman were having dinner together when a woman walked over to their table and asked, "Since you two are just sitting here looking at each other, should I go ahead and clear the table?" The young woman looked up and asked, "So, what's the total bill?" The restaurant manager replied, "The total comes to $29,800. Shocked, the young woman said, "How much?" $29,800? The manager responded, "This isn't a five-star hotel." The young woman frowned and said, "But this was just ordinary food. I didn't even order any special dishes. Even if I had, the bill wouldn't be $29,800. The manager explained everything you ordered was served. The wine you ordered was delivered as well. The wine is gone, the food has been eaten, and now the bill is due. What's the problem? Let's find a solution." The young woman nodded and said, "All right, fine, here you go. No need to give me any change back." The manager smiled and replied, "Thank you both for dining with us." After finishing dinner, the young man stood up and said, "All right, we're both adults, so I'll be honest. I don't think we're a good match. You seem pretty ordinary to me. Your personality's ordinary, and the car you drive is even more ordinary." The young woman nodded and said, "I see, so in your opinion, there's absolutely no future between us, right?" The young man replied, "Exactly. You couldn't even figure that out on our very first meeting." The young man shrugged and replied, "I don't know, why does that matter?" The young woman said, "I understand what you're saying. Good. Now that everything is clear, I feel much better. You heard the manager. Dinner costs $29,800. You can pay me $19,000. I'll cover the movie. As for the gold necklace, you specifically asked me to buy it as a gift for your mother. I'll need that back." The young man snapped angrily, "I've never met such a petty woman. Fine, $29,000, right? Here." He then added arrogantly, "My phone is dead. What, do you think I can't afford it? The battery just ran out." He continued boasting, "Do you know how many beautiful women chase after me? They're all crazy about me. They drive luxury cars and spend thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars on me. If they don't have money, they can't even get close to me." The young woman smiled and said, "Since you have so much money, just transfer it to me. Your phone is dead, right? Waiter, could you bring a power bank, please?" Confused, the young man asked, "What do you mean?" Moments later, the waiter arrived and said, "Here's the power bank, sir. You can choose the charging cable you need." The young woman replied, "Great, please give it to him." The young man scoffed and said, "Do I look like someone who can't afford a few dollars? I'm certainly not broke." The young woman then asked, "Has the new white-haired general manager started working here yet?" The assistant replied, "Oh, you mean the lady manager?" "Yes, she's the new general manager," the young woman calmly said. "Good, tell her she doesn't need to come to work tomorrow. Also prepare a complete pricing report for the restaurant menu and send it to me tomorrow." The assistant immediately responded, "Yes, boss, I'll take care of it right away." Then she asked in surprise, "So you're really the owner?" The young man's attitude changed instantly. He smiled and said, "My mother just called and told me that our families actually have a very special connection. Because of that, I've decided to give you another chance to impress me." The young woman replied coldly, "That's not necessary. Just pay your half of the dinner bill." The young man quickly said, "Of course, I'll do it right now, whatever you say." The young woman looked at him and said, "You came to this blind date willingly today. There was no reason to make things so ugly. You enjoyed the dinner, watched the movie, and accepted the gift. If you didn't like me, that's perfectly fine. But why did you have to be so disrespectful? All I wanted was basic courtesy. When people meet each other, they should treat one another with respect." The young man replied, "You didn't have to make such a scene at the restaurant. Who do you think you're looking down on? Do you really think you're better than me?" He then added, "Look, we came here to see if we were compatible. My mother believes we're meant to be together. Honestly, I'm quite satisfied with you. What do you think about me?" The young woman smiled slightly and replied, "Nothing special. Just a few minutes ago, you were saying that I looked ordinary and that I was just a regular employee. Let me tell you something. You should never judge a person based solely on appearance or social status." With those words, the conversation came to an end.